Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sekayi. If you're new here, welcome. Please remember to subscribe and hit the like button. So I'm starting a very interesting show. So I have like so many people that I've been wanting to collaborate with, to interview, etc. So I'm starting a new segment on my YouTube channel called 21 Questions with Sekayi. So today my first guest is, drum roll. So my first guest is Jito Kayumba. So we're going to do 21 questions with Jito. Hi Jito.
Hi Sekayi.
Okay, so you guys, I'm behind the camera because COVID, so I'm trying to keep 2 meters, you know, not taking chances. So we're going to start the 21 questions. Are you ready?
I'm good to go.
Okay, so for the first question, I just want people to get to know you. Can you describe yourself in 4 sentences?
I'm a passionate Zambian who loves to empower, to lift people up. I love my work, which is in investments, in venture capital, and I thank God for everything I have in my life.
Okay, now let's get to the more interesting questions. So this is question 2. What's your favorite show on TV? Do you watch TV?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, it's rare. I'm not watching TV right now because there's nothing worth watching. I hate to say that. I'm sure there's lots of, I hear about Bridgerton and all these things. I'm not watching any of that. But I like Billions. I used to watch Game of Thrones.
Oh, did you find the last episode as disappointing as everything else?
Yeah. The last season was just a mess. But I remember when I got into Game of Thrones, I think around season 3 is when things just went nuts. I think at that point it became almost like an addiction, right? Yeah. It was incredible. But it was so well written, the power of the characters, the cinematography, you could see there was so much attention to detail. Yeah. Such a rich story, which even though there was all that mysticism and dragons and so on, it still made sense, you know, even as somebody who appreciates, you know, real narratives, to see all this stuff in the background that added so much value to the story, I think made it such a rich, entertaining experience to watch, you know, so.
And was it just me, or did it like remind you of the Old Testament? Like when the Israelites and the Israelites, that fight, fighting for power.
Actually, it didn't, eh?
It did?
No, I don't think it reminded me of anything because it was so original.
Yeah.
The originality was insane. I mean, of course, you had that historical England type of environment, but then, and of course, everybody spoke with British accents, you know. But at the same time, no, I think, you know, the author is a genius. You know?
Yes. Are you planning to read the books?
No. I know too much about the story. So I've got friends who read it and they say it's incredible, but I don't have patience for reading stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the third question is, if you didn't live in Zambia, which country would you live in and why?
So I would live in Canada, probably because of familiarity. I think one, I lived there for 10 years from the time I was just getting into pre-university. I did my university there and I worked there for a number of years. The country is beautiful. The people, it's so multicultural, it's so accommodating, it's so inclusive, it's very woke, right? It's a society that evolves very quickly. People are conscious of equality and I feel like it's a place that showed me a lot. My personal acculturation, I think, happened there. In my understanding of the world, my worldview, my exposure into different cultures, into different ways of thinking happened there. And I feel it's a place I can easily call home because one, it's familiar, and two, I understand the people. And it's a place that's fertile for personal growth in business, in professionalism, and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'll go with Canada.
Okay, and the fourth question, I just want you to list the top 5 books that you think everybody should read.
The number one is almost obvious to me. It's the Bible. It's literally the ultimate guide of life. You know, it captures everything you can think about, right? From personal relationships, money. You could learn so much. You know, you're going through difficulty. There's an answer for every question that you can ever find. The second is extremely powerful. This is probably one of my favorite books. I probably talk about it all the time. It's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Personal development, achievement. It's so practical and clear, and the methodology to achieve success is outlined beautifully. So that's two. Another book that changed my life in knowing how to deal with people, or at least engage with people, was How to Win Friends and Influence People. I know that's a funny title, but you know, in life, you want to be successful, you have to realize that we're social animals as human beings. So you have to interact with people, understand people, know what makes them tick, psychologically and otherwise. So that book, it's by a guy called Dale Carnegie. Incredible book. I'd say how many books have I mentioned? Three, okay. I'll go with a more contemporary one about being in the professional world. It's called Principles by a guy called Ray Dalio. He's an investment genius. He talks about his principles for success in terms of him operating probably one of the most successful hedge funds in the world that he runs. And it's really about leadership, about different methodologies, different thought patterns, different ways in which you work with people, which is also very powerful. Another one would be The Richest Man in Babylon. I think that's
my number one.
Okay, yeah, that's a great book. So I've clocked 5, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, those are
non-fiction.
I've read. You know what? I'm not big on fiction because I just feel like, I don't know. There's something about fiction that I've never been into. I like books that are practical, that are about personal development. I like science books, things where the narrative is really about some sort of, maybe where there's a historical setting or like a biographical story, but that I draw some value out of. I have read a few fiction books because of school, you know, like the usual ones in literature class or something. But I remember the only book I ever read because of the hype was The Da Vinci Code. Yeah, as a student, and it's incredible. It's so well written by Dan Brown. So I read that. I've read a couple of books really that are you know, a fiction that were really entertaining. So that was definitely an entertaining one. And that's the only one I remember actually from a fiction perspective. Everything else I read is research, personal development, it's financial related stuff, it's biographies. That's really what I like to read.
The fifth question: if you're not doing what you do now, what would you be doing?
Oh, easy. I'll be a teacher.
A teacher?
Teacher, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
One, I love children. I love people, young people, because I love the potential. A human being is so malleable, and I like to impart knowledge to people and to teach people how to be better, as in whichever way, right? And if I were a teacher, then I have the opportunity, the responsibility, and the duty to not only give people, you know, a curriculum that they learn and use in their lives, but then also maybe be that caring, I'll call it the third parent to that child. You know, in Africa we say it takes a village to raise a child. So I want to be that person who can share things that, you know, that person, when they are a director in a big company, or they're a head of state one day, or if they're whatever they want to do in their lives, they always remember, like, you know what, there's that one teacher who gave me so much confidence and courage and information, who cared about me, and who taught me to essentially be the person, or at least gave me the tools to be the person I wanted to be. So that's why I choose to be a teacher.
And for number 6, which historical figure would you like to have a chat with? I think this would be interesting.
Andrew Carnegie, without question.
Yeah.
Andrew Carnegie was, at the turn of the century, when we got into the 1900s, he was the richest man in the world. He was a steel magnate. He was a Scotsman who became an American. He moved to the US with nothing. He had no education, no money, but by sheer will, an enormous passion, a burning desire, he turned his passion and his desire into great success by learning, you know, to work with others, utilizing people who are competent and skilled, became the richest man in the world. And then most importantly, he taught others. He mentored hundreds of people who became presidents, who became multimillionaires. Talk about today's, you think of Gillette, the razor company. He mentored the person who did that. You talk about Rockefeller, you talk about, you know, all sorts of great names, great inventors like Henry Ford, or, people like Edison, they all were part of his mentorship. To me, he's an extraordinary person. He's probably responsible for so much, even education. His philanthropy develops the Carnegie Endowment, or the Carnegie Fund, that has educated hundreds of thousands of people, maybe even millions. His money built libraries, and he changed lives. Even after he died maybe a century ago. I don't know exactly he died, but to talk to him would be unbelievable. And there's something that's written on his gravestone. He says, "Here lies a man who didn't know it all, but had the wisdom to work with people who did." So he knew how to work to utilize stakeholders, to create value. And this is something I do. And then I took one of my favorite quotes from him, that no man can become rich without himself enriching others. Part of my work is raising capital, investing in businesses that creates value in a firm together with partners. And if you, in the course of enriching others, you enrich yourself. So to me, he is the ultimate mentor for me. And I'd love, and I'm sure depending on how life works, or the science of life, once, I pass on or get the chance to meet him in the afterlife, I look forward to having that meeting. So anything's possible. Yeah.
2020 was one hell of a year. What's your biggest lesson from 2020? In one sentence.
One?
I know it's a tough one.
It was a difficult year, but I learned discipline, because I learned that the fruits of discipline will save you, right? When you're in a year where income is reduced, but because you're disciplined to save, and I always say, money that's saved essentially saves you when times are tough. So discipline, definitely, the fruits of discipline got me through. 2 was being open-minded, to be agile, to change, to reevaluate any business I'm in, the business model, to restructure it to exist within times of COVID. So it's really about agility and being able to kind of navigate through through tough times. So yeah, I'd say that's the biggest lesson.
Okay. And number 8, what would you say changed your life or made you do what you do today?
1, okay, it's a combination of factors. I'll try to make it short. So 1 was, I was, as a shy kid, as a kid who didn't have a lot of confidence, I yearned to have confidence. I yearned to be successful and become something significant. So I began to follow certain people, and I essentially became attached to certain mentors. And these mentors brought about a strong amount of knowledge. They imparted a lot of knowledge into my life. So they changed my life. I think these are individuals who were generous with their time. These are people I spent a lot of time with, who shared a lot of insight into what it is that makes them successful. And in life, they say success leaves clues. If you're around successful people, they will do things, they have habits that you pick up and you realize that this is how you become it. And that definitely changed me. And then when I came back home from Canada many years ago, I started out with absolutely nothing. I was as broke as can be. I always joke that if you opened up the dictionary in 2010 and looked up the word broke, there was probably a picture of me. I was, look for laughs with that one. But so being in a position where you're starting out with nothing, you're looking for ways in which you can make your life work, and being at rock bottom, I think it's something that teaches you, to have humility, to have empathy for people who struggle to have resources, to just live a life, to have food, to pay for rent and so on. And then going from that into, obviously there's a whole story of, hard work and serendipity and God's grace, coming out of that into a situation where you become financially stable, and then I appreciate everything I have, even though there's some level, from one perspective, some level of abundance, and I'm really happy, and grateful to have that. But at the same time, I look back and say, man, remember, the Zesco meter is beeping, and I don't have the money to pay for units, and I'm like, wow, and then you think to yourself, my car's got a full tank. This is such a great feeling, So gratitude is a huge, huge thing that I have in me. I never forget any way that goes into my account. There's a person inside of me that says a prayer, thanking God for every little thing I have, and so all that changed my life.
And number 9, I can't believe it's on number 9. Paper or electronic?
Paper.
Same. Do you like your name?
I love my name. It's a dope name.
Would you ever
Goodness.
change it?
Nope.
I love my name too. Okay, so number 11, let's take a twist. Ask me a question.
What do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, I can't see that far, honestly. Like after everything that has happened in my life, I've just started seeing that it's very hard to. But I know that I'm going to be rich and famous.
Good.
Yeah.
That's an answer.
Rich and famous.
Excellent. That's where you see yourself in 10 years. That's a great answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 12. What's your favorite money quote?
If you save me today, I'll save you tomorrow.
Awesome. And I think that was one of my biggest lessons for 2020. And number 13. What's the last book you read?
48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
That's still on my to-be read list, and I am beginning to doubt that I'll read it. Honestly.
Read it. It's a bit Machiavellian. It's, you know, you don't want to be cold, but it tells you the hard truth about life, about what motivates people, and it just helps you navigate through situations where people are doing certain things. It's not necessarily a guide for how to behave, but it is a way of looking at life from a more pessimistic perspective, but using ways, knowing enough to manipulate the situation so you have power. And in some instances, it's not, if you're a good person, a good-hearted person, it's hard to follow those principles, but it's just good to understand. And I think he articulates it very well.
Okay, I think I'll definitely read it. And number 14, tell us one thing that's on your bucket list.
I definitely, can I squeeze them into two? Okay.
No, just one. Okay,
because I asked permission. Definitely want to have a foundation, one that educates people. I'm working on something, you know, Drip University. It's deliberate.
Okay. I can't wait.
Yeah. 2 is, and that foundation should definitely help people get through school, help people have access to capital, and build a knowledge base that makes them successful. Simple. And then on the back of that, write books. That's my thing.
Oh, really? Have you started writing anything?
No, but I will.
Okay. I can't wait for that.
Morning.
Number 16. If you could trade lives with anyone for a day, who would it be?
50 Cent.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Why?
because he's awesome. 50 is the man. He's such a multifaceted person, right? He's an entertainer. So that feeling of being on stage and entertaining people sounds cool. 2, he's a great businessman, not only through music, but through, you know, he invests, you know, vitamin water. I mean, he's doing all sorts of, he had I don't know if he did a pharmaceutical investment, but, you know, so imagine, you know, doing movies, TV shows, being a producer, bringing all these cool things, you know, being out in Vegas, hanging out with Floyd and being in, you know, he just has such a cool life, right? So to me,
maybe I would love to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite milk kit flavor?
You know what? I'm not much of a milk person, I'll admit. One thing people don't know about me, by the way, is that I'm a vegetarian who is as close to vegan as it gets. And part of being that is I don't take animal products. I don't eat meat. I don't take anything that comes from an animal, like even milk. But the reason I say I'm close to being vegan is because the only milk or animal product I take is whey protein. So I go to the gym, right? I work out, so I need to supplement in order to build muscle and stay strong.
So you haven't had milk?
No,
that's what you're saying.
I've never had it before. No, I won't have any milk anytime soon.
That's unfortunate.
Ever. Yeah, I'm sure, but the rumors are it tastes great. Okay.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
So number 18. What's your favorite song? And you have to sing it.
Okay. You know what? One song that I loved when it came out, and I still love it to this day, is a song by Game featuring 50 Cent called Hate It or Love It.
Okay.
So I'll just do the chorus.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Hate it or love it, the underdogs on top. Cause I'm gonna shine, homie, until my heart stop. Go ahead, envy me. I'm Rap's MVP, and I ain't going nowhere, so you can get to know me.
Oh!
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to number 19. What's your favorite movie? And can you recite a line from your favorite movie?
Too easy. The Godfather. And the line is, I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Okay.
I'll do another line. A man that does not spend time with his family can never be a real man. It's about responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I should. I haven't watched it. Now I feel like I'm missing out.
Oh, it's an incredible movie. Classic.
Okay, and the 20th question. Who would you wish to play you in a movie?
Who's a great thespian who can capture my essence? So, one person who I think I love his character, his attitude. Some people say that sometimes some of my personality traits. I know, sorry, I'm not trying to gas myself up. So those of you who are watching, please don't be hard on me here.
I can't wait to hear it.
Will Smith has got such a vibe. He's such a positive guy. He's got an outlook of the world which is very much in line with mine, right? Positive and just good energy, optimistic, gregarious. So I think he would bring out that vibe in me, you know. So yeah, but if you want that real raw emotion, that guy who played Martin Luther King, is it Tony Olo something? He's a British Nigerian guy. He's a real actor. You know, if you want somebody to transform into anybody, he's a guy. Tony something. But
I'm trying to remember, you know, I think I don't know actors, so I definitely get this wrong. So.
Yeah. He did Selma. He was Martin Luther King in Selma. He's been so many interesting roles, but a guy like that would be on the dramatic side, but on just a vibe side, Will Smith is the one. You know, I don't even know, you know, we don't look that much alike, but you know, he'd be good. Yeah.
But you know, Hollywood will make him look very good.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay, so our last question. What cause do you care about?
Causes. So the thing that, so those of you who've heard my TED Talk before, I started out by telling a story about being driven to school by my father in a vehicle. And I remember seeing a kid my age, you know, who was walking, was barefoot, going to school as well, in very, you know, tattered uniform. And the feeling I had of just, it felt so uncomfortable, almost like a feeling of guilt. Like, why is the world so unfair, right? So imbalanced, where people are so poor and others are so well off, right? You know, you just had breakfast, you're in your car, you're wearing clean clothes, you're going to school with a chalkboard and everything. And then this kid is probably going to a school that doesn't have all these things. So it made me care about inequality. You know, made me care about issues of poverty and the disparity between rich and poor. And those are things I really, really care about. Like just, and even part of my work is, you know, where we raise capital, we invest, try to create jobs, because I'm concerned about, you know, what is the livelihood of people who are less fortunate. Because I've been fortunate enough, you know, by God's grace. It's like life is like a lottery. I just happen to be born, and like many people who could be watching this should reflect on the fact that they're very lucky to be born to parents who can provide for what they have, and to be born in conditions where they have that level of, you know, just sustenance, where others are born with so little, maybe, you know, 1 meal a day. From the time the cards that they're dealt with at birth are so bad that, you know, even you're stunted from a cognitive perspective because of lack of nutrition. Growing up, lack of access to certain tools to develop you. You end up not being able to make the best of your life because you didn't have the right school books, you didn't go to the right school, didn't, you know, didn't have, the necessary tools that enable you to be competitive in the world and successful. So that's a cause I care so much about. And in my own small way. That's why I care about, you know, philanthropy. That's why Drip University is a vision I want to work with that could give access to certain people to certain things, particularly education, which is a huge enabler of social mobility. So that's that.
Yeah, so that was, I can't believe that the questions are done. So I'm going to ask you like one bonus question.
All right.
Are you ready?
Sure. Good to go.
What would 50 Cent do?
What would 50 Cent do? My goodness. He would call me and say, Jito, where you at? I'm going to send you a private jet. Come through to whichever part of the world is at, kicking it. And we'll just be, you know, cracking jokes, telling stories, talking about co-investing in business in Zambia. And I'm telling you, that is probably something that should even be on my bucket list, kicking it with 50 Cent, doing deals together, you know.
I think I've also found something that I'm going to add to my bucket list.
Yeah?
Yes, thank you for I don't know if this is a game of answering these questions.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
And for coming to my channel again. We'll call you again.
It's a dope channel.
Like our channel, I think.
It is. I love this channel. Sekayi, you're doing such a great job, and I watch you. I'm a subscriber.
Tell the other people who are watching who haven't subscribed to subscribe.
What are you waiting for? Come on, what's wrong with you? Subscribe.
Yay! So that was 21 questions with Jito. If you guys like that video and you want to see more people, just let me know in the comments who you'd like to see next on this video, or if you want to come, I mean, you can also come and ask you these 21 questions. Yes. So thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and remember to share with your friends. Bye.